Hey, welcome. Grab a seat anywhere. No, we don't have any menus. The only thing we have today is the freedom to express who you truly are. We call it Authenticity Radio. You'll like it, don't worry. Let me go grab the host. He's got the hospitality of a fat and jolly innkeeper. He's a good guy. Slade Suter.
Good morning to you and welcome to today's program. This is Slade Suter. I'd like to welcome you to the special morning edition with Jeff Rasley. Jeff Rasley, if you recall, he did the Philanthro-Trekker episode a while back, and through an accident that happened while climbing in the Himalayas, he developed a very intimate relationship with the Basa village, and he started a whole cohort of philanthropic work from that episode. And he's still going strong on that. And he has just released another book. This book is called Godless. So what we're going to be talking about today is values over beliefs. Values, the idea being that can clear the way and do some house cleaning in some of our beliefs that we're holding on to. So without any further ado, Jeff Rasley, my friend, welcome back to Authenticity Radio.
Thank you very much, Slade. Good to be with you again.
Yes. We again and again. I totally screwed up our last interview. We did a whole complete interview, listeners, and hopefully we can get the gist of everything that we talked about last time. And the recording just went foobarbed, and so here we go. We're going to try it again. And so, Jeff, you've come a long, long way since your wife initially told you to take a hike.
Yeah, I've actually gone around the world a few times since then.
Now, this is
both literally and spiritually.
Yeah, well, there you go. And everybody should listen to this. So if your significant other tells you to take a hike, do it literally. And so, would you mind just recapping that story? It's beautiful. It's worth a recap.
Oh, thanks. I had turned 40. I was manifesting what could be classified as midlife crisis symptoms, and I already had a Harley-Davidson motorcycle and a sports car convertible, so those treatments did not work. And since my secretary was a dear friend and 10 years older than me, I was not going to chase her around the office and run off with her. So I came home one day from the office, and my wife slapped down on the coffee table in front of me a brochure about trekking in the Nepal Himalayas and said, "Why don't you go do this?" So, as Slade put it, she was saying, go take a hike and do it on the other side of the world. So I did, and a friend and I went over to Nepal, and we hiked up the Mount Everest Base Camp Trail, and I just fell in love with the beautiful majesty of the Himalayas, and I was really impressed and attracted to the culture and the people that live up in the high mountains. Sir Edmund Hillary called the Sherpa people the strongest and kindest people he had ever known, and I found that to be true, and not just of the Sherpas, but of the other tribal people that lived and that live up in the high mountains. And so I started going back just about every year, learned how to do mountaineering, which is not a common sport here in Indiana, and eventually had an experience that led me to redirect some of my energy to not just focus on the adventure, the sort of self-stimulation of being up in the mountains and hiking and climbing, but to combine philanthropy with it. And so I coined the term Philanthro-Trekking to try to capsulize the efforts I've made at taking leading groups on treks and combining those with philanthropic efforts.
And you're still doing that these days?
Yeah, it eventually sort of developed into a foundation, and we're incorporated and have 501c3 status called the Bassa Village Foundation. I'm the president. We have a board and 30-some members, and every year we try to do at least one major fundraising project, which has so far been primarily focused on developing the infrastructure of this one village called Bassa.
Bassa, and that's where your heart is. That's where your heart still lies. Is that true?
It is. It's because of a relationship that developed with many of the men from that village who have served as guides, cooks, porters for expeditions that I've led and organized. And so I developed, friendships with people from this village and have been to the village 5 times. But our greater vision is to use Bassa as an example or a model for how to do culturally sensitive development in that area. And we're just about finished with that, and we'll be ready to take that model to other villages probably in 2016.
Wow, congratulations, Jeff. That's fantastic. And just for the listeners who are wondering about the different qualities of our voice, we're having little connectivity problems trying to get a hold of making sure that we can maintain the quality with Jeff. So right now we're via telephone. And Jeff, this is really a nice place to segue. It's a nice lead-in to where we want to go with the Bassa people, with their open hearts, with their hospitality, and their generosity. That has influenced you in writing this book. Is that true?
Yes, it has. My relationship with that community and what I've learned from the villagers, as well as my relationship with the community here in Indianapolis, which is a Quaker meeting called First Friends Indianapolis. Those 2 communities, to a large extent, inspired the thinking that's expressed in this book.
What is the difference between beliefs and values?
Well, beliefs are something that it's an idea that's held in one's mind, but which cannot be proved. And there are various categories of beliefs, and some are aggressive and tend to divide people into different camps, and others are simply opinions, which people will modify or even drop as they learn more or as the evidence develops. So, for example, I might believe or have the opinion that the stock market will go up in 2015. That opinion is going to modify, change, or maybe even be dropped as reality develops, and I learn more. And on the other hand, a religious or a political belief is supposed to be something that's absolute and unchanging. The trouble with that sort of belief is there is no evidence to support it, to prove it true or to prove it false, like there is an opinion. And people tend to become aggressive about those beliefs because they act as if they are true, and so people who disagree with them by having different beliefs are wrong.
Ah, okay.
And where this leads to conflict, disagreement, and even war, is because neither side can persuade the other side, because neither side has any real evidence to support the truth of their belief.
Mm-hmm.
And so it can't be resolved. It's a conflict that cannot be resolved. Whereas an opinion like, I think the Colts are a better team than the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to be resolved when they play.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just so happens that I believe that Jeff Rasley is a beautiful, big-hearted man. What do you think of that?
I think maybe that is an absolute. No, I mean, but okay, so that would be an opinion.
Yes,
and
it is.
That's and we can also call that opinion a belief, but that's something that, as you and I get to know each other better, you might modify that, or you might develop more evidence to support it.
Okay.
But a belief like... Sorry, go ahead.
No, so can I say that a healthy belief is flexible and it is and it's open to growth?
Yeah, indeed you can, and you just did, and I agree with that.
Okay, so the rigidity is what we're talking about. There's the beliefs based on a rigid idealism or an idea that comes from the outside, not from the inside, is the hitching point of what we're talking about here.
Well, yeah, and I guess two things I'd add to that.
Okay.
One is, what good does holding a particular belief do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And does such a belief, whether it's a political ideology or a religious doctrine, does that actually have a positive effect on your life?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second piece is, whatever beliefs you have are probably not going to harm other people. They might harm you, but they probably aren't going to harm other people if you also value tolerance. And so, we have beliefs and we also have values, and there's a close relationship between those, but they aren't quite the same thing.
Let's talk about values.
Well, if within your value system, tolerance is one of your fundamental values, and even if you have sort of iconoclastic or strange, unique beliefs, which most people disagree with, you'll be fine in the sense of how you relate to other people. Or if you have the dominant beliefs of your culture, you'll be fine with minorities who hold different beliefs, because you're willing to accept that other people have the right to their own beliefs.
Okay, so therefore, values is kind of like a litany test, house cleaning for your belief system.
Yeah, and I guess what I would say to push the point a little further is, do you really gain anything by holding on to this particular belief system? Because if you look at the history of the major belief systems, the major religions, the major political ideologies, they tend to drive people, at least when people are led by charismatic leaders who don't necessarily have the best intentions. They tend to drive people to do harm to non-believers, and they tend to drive people to violence. And we see this over and over and over again. And it isn't just religious beliefs. If you look at the 20th century, the most violent deaths were caused by leaders who claimed to be atheists. Adolf Hitler, Mao Zedong, Vladimir Lenin, they all claimed to be atheists, but they had